and welcome to Live in the Hive. It's Sunday, it's 8 o'clock, and yes, I'm here in my garden bar, the Hive, ready to bring you the latest in theatre news and interviews across Greater Manchester. I'm Michelle Eagleton. If you are new to the show, a great big hello. We are here every week streaming on the I Love Manchester Facebook page, that iconic brand dedicated to community and culture. And of course, we're on our very own Facebook page, the Live in the Hive one. Give us a follow if you can. Now, are you ready for some theatre action? Because tonight I'm very excited. I have got some brilliant guests from the West End, no less. Yes, I'm joined by performers that are in these two wonderful productions. They are Carrie Hope Fletcher and Ian McIntosh. Now, Carrie Hope Fletcher is going to be winging her way to Salford very soon in the Crown Jewels at the Lowry. And Ian McIntosh is probably preparing and rehearsing as we speak for opening tomorrow night at the Palace Theatre in Jesus Christ Superstar. And they are here on this show. They are fantastic. Really great to get the lowdown on those productions from them. We'll be having a right good old gossip too. So let's get on with the show and let's kickstart it with a lady that I have been a big fan of for a long time. She is musical theatre royalty, let's face it, and she can turn a hand to so many things. She's wrote books, she's presented, she's been a social media superstar, and of course she has been on the West End stage so many times. You'll have seen her in Les Mis, you'll have seen her in Heathers, you'll have seen her in the Addams Family. I can go on, but let's hear from the lady herself. She is, of course, Carrie Hope Fletcher, and here she is telling me all about her latest role. This is a very, very funny show.
It is indeed, yeah. I mean, how can it not be when you've got writing by Simon Knight and, you know, you've got Al Murray, Mel Gedroych, Joe Thomas, Neil Morrissey, Ada McArdle. Like, it's just an all-star cast of very, very naturally funny people. Like, they're funny when they aren't even saying amazingly scripted lines. They're just naturally, they've got funny bones. So it's even more fun, like, off stage than it is on stage, because they're constantly just hysterical.
Well, I can imagine. I think you're going to have a bit of a ball when you're going on tour. It's going to be like one big party, like school kids let out of school.
I mean, we're all staying together as well in a couple of the venues.
Wow.
So we've all just kind of got one big house that Mel keeps calling a trap house, which I'm pretty sure is the name of a drug den. We keep having to tell her that that's not what you're meant to call it. But yeah, no, it's going to be fun. It's going to be great, I think.
Yeah, and this is something that it's based on real history, isn't it? But you don't go in there thinking you're going to get, you know, this boring history lesson. It doesn't take itself seriously, as we said, but
no.
it was real. These crown jewels were stolen, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's this ridiculous piece of history that's kind of just gone missing. Like, no one really knows the story about Colonel Thomas Blood, who tried to steal the crown jewels from the Tower of London, but did so very easily because they were literally being kept in a cupboard and guarded by a 77-year-old man who would just let people come and see them whenever they wanted to for a very small donation. So yeah, it's this story about all of these sort of very wild and wacky characters, but also very real characters. Like, it's a part of history that you couldn't even really write it. Like, I think if you wrote this story and it didn't actually happen, people would go, that's not believable. But it did really happen. It's in the history books.
It did, honestly. And you said about scripting, there is a lot of times that some ad lib goes on. And when you're together with actors on the stage and you're ad libbing, is it hard not to keep your face straight?
It's impossible. And I mean, we do often corpse. And the hardest thing is that I have Al Murray and Mel Gedroych, who play my parents in the show. And so when I'm on stage with them, they're constantly trying to make each other laugh. And I end up getting caught in the crossfire because I play their very moody daughter who's constantly, like, they constantly talk about how she's scowling. And when you've got them being hysterically funny, how are you meant to keep a scowl on your face? Like, it's not even like I'm playing an upbeat character who could have the chance to smile. I have to try and keep this very stony, moody face all of the time, and they make it impossible.
I can imagine. I can imagine. But you are some kind of royalty yourself. You are musical theatre royalty. Let's just face this. I mean, Les Mis, Heathers. There is just a long list that we can go through, Carrie. And the great thing about this is we do get to see you sing.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, that's great for you to have like a little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, it is this weird sort of hybrid between musical and play and comedy. It's kind of this amazing sort of amalgamation of lots of different wonderful genres. And the songs are written by Grant Olding, and you know, they're just fun songs that have sort of this period feel. They feel like right for the time frame that we are in 1671, but they're catchy. They're really, really catchy. There's this song called Diggle Down Dilly that we talk about backstage all the time because it gets stuck in your head. People, like, we're walking backstage and you can hear someone humming it as you walk past.
Praise Him for Me did exactly the same thing.
Yeah, that is the opening song, which is, you know, all about the Lady of the Bedchamber having a wonderful time, shall we say, with King Charles the Second, because we all play these double roles. So not only do I play Al Murray's daughter, I also play his lover at one point. So, you know, it's a wild ride. It
is very, very riotous, and I'm imagining each show is quite different as well because there's quite a bit of audience participation, which
there is.
I think is a really nice addition because we don't often get that nowadays, apart from Panto.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's sort of fascinating because Al goes, you know, out into the audience, you know, only verbally, not literally, but he asks people their names and, you know, where they're from and what their jobs are, and the answers are never the same, and it's so fascinating. And some people have like incredible jobs, like really amazing jobs, and you're like, I don't know how Al is going to weave that into the show because it's also a very modern job, but you know what, he is well equipped and he does very well.
Yes, he does, and especially as a royal, he's very good. He's very good at putting on that whole kind of regal thing. Now, have you played along any royalty, played for royalty? Because I imagine some of the performances that you have done have been in front of a royal audience. Spill the beans.
Only when I was a child. I remember, who was it? I can't remember which royal it was now, but I remember that we had a massive show stop. It was during Chitty Chitty Bang Bang when I was a child at the Palladium, and we had royalty come and watch us, and it was on Halloween as well. I remember it being October 31st, and we actually had a really big show stop to the point where the show got cancelled. And I think it was Prince Charles. I think it was now King Charles.
Now King.
I know. I think it was Prince Charles. And I remember he had to come back and watch it on a different day. But I think he came back on a day when I wasn't performing because I was only a child. So I was like sharing the role with sort of 4 or 5 other kids. But yeah, I remember it being a really big deal because everyone, you know, when royalty comes in to watch the show, you want this show to be as good as possible. And we ended up having a cancelled show.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? What is the chances of that? So you had a brush with royalty in some way. And also, I think this is quite a natural for you because you do love your jewels, don't you? And you do collect rings. I know that
yes.
when you were playing Truly Scrumptious, you had a bit of an incident where a ring turned your finger green, didn't it?
Yeah, I know. I was in the habit of buying cheap jewelry, and I thought it was sterling silver. It absolutely wasn't. My fingers ended up green. I know. I also had a ring that I had to wear for the Addams family, and I ended up having just to get a different one because my fingers were constantly green at the end of the show. But yeah, I collect rings. I buy a different ring for every role that I play. Sort of like Jacqueline Wilson, she does it with when she publishes a new book. I got the idea from her. And yeah, so I've got this sort of little precious collection of rings. But at the moment, I'm only wearing sort of a couple of them.
Well, the thing is, you don't need a new ring for this one because you are now a married woman. So you've had a recent ring on your finger. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I got married in Gretna Green in February. But then we had our sort of big family friends celebration a couple of weeks ago at Marleybrook House. We hired a fun fair. It was amazing. And it was great because we'd done all of the legal stuff in February. It meant that our family and friends celebration, we kind of had free reign and we could do whatever we wanted. So instead of having hymns, we had, pop songs. We sang, You've Got a Friend in Me, and the theme tune from Friends.
Brilliant.
It
I
was
love
great.
it.
It was amazing. It was such a great day, and it was just so wonderful to sort of have all of our favorite people in one room there to celebrate our marriage. It was great.
Oh, that is fantastic. I think you should just keep getting married again and again. Have those
Me
special
too.
times, and you need to wear that dress again.
Isn't it
It is
fabulous?
stuff that fairy tales are made
Yeah.
of, Rory.
It was the wonderful Rosie Dennington, who, you know, she dressed me for a photo shoot a few years ago, and I kept her number, and I said, look, when I get married, you have to make my wedding dress. And I stuck to my word, and I gave her a call as soon as I got engaged, and we started work straight away. And my brief was essentially, I wanted to look like a forest fairy. I wanted to look like an autumnal goddess, and she delivered.
Oh, she nailed that with bells
Yeah.
on, absolutely. And I'm sure people have said this to you before, but you've got your own Romeo because it's Joel Montague. You have completely, that's it, fairy tale romance story. Are you going to change your name though? Because we all know you as Carrie Hope Fletcher.
Yeah.
Feels a bit.
Professionally, I will keep it the same. So for anything, you know, theatre related, book related, it'll always be Carrie Hope Fletcher. But personally, I like the idea of changing my name personally, so that when I come home, there is a sort of difference between my private life and my professional life. So when I come home, I am Mrs. Montague.
Brilliant. Well, this sees you on tour for quite a bit, so you're going on tour with it. The first stop is the Lowry, which is very excited. You guys obviously made the right choice coming to us.
Absolutely.
And then what's the plan? Because I believe you got Panto. There must be some more musicals that you've got your eye on. Is there some kind of role out there still that you just want to go, I've got to do that one?
I mean, there's one role that I've had my eye on since I was a child. I fell in love with the musical Sweeney Todd as a kid, and I have wanted to play Mrs. Lovett ever since then. It's the stuff of dreams, that musical. I love it so much, to the point where it gave me nightmares when I was a child, because it is quite a grim story. You know, it is a bit of a horror. But I loved it so much that I couldn't stop listening. So I'm sort of caught in this loop of listening to it, having nightmares, and then needing to listen to it even more.
She would be fantastic as Mrs. Lovett. I would love to see that happen, and I'm sure it will do in the future. In the meantime, though, if you want to catch Carrie in action, then head to the Lowry in Salford and go and watch The Crown Jewels. Now, are you ready for guest number 2? I told you we have a brilliant show tonight. I've been blessed with some fantastic talent on the show, and this guy is one of the best. He's Ian McIntosh. He's starring in Jesus Christ Superstar. It opens tomorrow night at the Palace Theatre, and I'm super excited. This was the first big musical I ever went to see at the ripe old age of 10, and it's here in Manchester. He's starring as Jesus. He's got a cracking voice. He's been in incredible musicals, and I can't wait to see him in this one. So, of course, I had to get the lowdown. Here's what he had to say.
We're looking forward to coming up to Manchester. You know, we're coming up to Manchester and bringing the show up there. The show is great. We're in rehearsals at the moment, and you know, we're coming up to the last week of rehearsals. We come up to Manchester. We start tech on Wednesday, the tech rehearsals, and we open the following Monday and to audiences. And I cannot wait to see what audiences think of Tim Sheeler's this version of Jesus Christ Superstar.
Well, I've seen it quite a number of times, but I haven't seen this version because this is the one that was at Regent's Park, isn't it? So the last one I saw would have been when Tim Minchin was in it with Ben Foster, and it was in arenas, and it was very anarchic. So what can we expect from this version? What's the switch up?
Yeah, I think with this version, well, I mean, all of us are on sort of handheld mics. It's a rock and roll gig, you know. It's a rock and roll gig, really. We're leaning into the music, you know, of Jesus Christ Superstar. Tom, who is our musical, Tom Deering, who's our musical supervisor, is just an incredible, you know, just incredible at just digging out like our, you know, the meaning of what we're singing and why we're singing it. So it comes from like a rock gig. It's contemporary. It's set in today. It's about real people. It's not about Jesus being a, you know, holier than thou kind of character. It's about a real person, which is me, who plays Jesus, being a superstar. a rock and roll superstar who, you know, it has the mob on his side, and then the mob turns against him. You know, so it's real. It looks beautiful. Like, the set is incredible. You know, the set's incredible. The music's great. The cast are brilliant. And yeah, I think people who, whether you're religious or not religious, or you're going to really enjoy this as a good human story, you know, to come and watch.
And absolutely cracking songs. I mean, this is the original rock opera, and I have got to say, I think you are perfect for Jesus, because your back catalogue being in things like Rock of Ages, We Will Rock You, you've got just the right voice to be hitting those notes, and they are some notes, Ian.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah, exactly. Like when the audition came around for this, I was like, no, I want to play Jesus or Judas, you know, either of those characters, you know, because they're both have incredible songs. And you're right, they do. It does suit my voice, you know. It suits my voice to be like, you know, like I say, I've always sung those kind of Queen, you know, We Are the Champions. I've just recently finished in London, the Coliseum Theatre, which was amazing. That was like 2,500 people. I think over 12 weeks we performed in front of 250,000 people, and you know, and we got to sing these amazing Queen anthems, and you know, and what Andrew Lloyd Webber's, you know, I did hear something about that when he created this album, the concept album, he got like amazing guitarists in. Like, he would get like someone in from the Rolling Stones, or do you know what I mean? Like, in order to help create this album, so it's rooted in, like, you know, these amazing, you know, legendary sort of rock and roll, you know, legends, basically.
Absolutely. And Steve Balsamo played Jesus. Honestly, I think he reached like a top G or something in falsetto kind of style. It's supposed to be one of the hardest songs for a male vocalist, Gethsemane. Is that scary?
Yeah, I think it is, you know, it is. It's not scary, it's a challenge, you know, and made even more so by my character, because we play in this version, Tim wanted us, and Tom wanted me to play guitar at the beginning of it. So because it's a rock gig, I start playing, you know, so it starts strumming away. It comes to things strumming away, you know, I only want to sing. And then when the song builds, the band takes over, and I drop out of the guitar, and then the big scream comes out, and it's cool how, and that's part of the you know, the merging the music with the singer. It's not me as Jesus singing on top of the music. It's me, the musician, singing with the band. And that's what gives it this, you know, real life quality. And but it's a specialized thing. It's a special. The high note is a specialized thing. I never thought I could do it. I remember when I was I did a tour of Germany when I was like 18, my very first job, and I was asked to sing. I was asked to sing Gethsemane as a cover, and I couldn't do it, you know. And it's only been through, like you say, working through these different rock shows, that I've learned how to manage my voice like that. So, you know, I'm fortunate that, you know, I really enjoy singing it, you know, and hopefully audiences that come and watch will enjoy it too.
It is a real moment. It's going to be incredible. I think I'm going to get goosebumps. I tell you what, someone else who will get goosebumps going to see you, if she gets to come, is I went on your social media, and you got the thumbs up from Hannah Waddingham.
Yeah.
She said a big hell yes when she knew you got the role. I mean, come on, musical theatre royalty there, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hannah came to see, what did she come to see? Rock You. We Will Rock You. She came to see We Will Rock You when we were on tour, and then she came to see it on when we were in town as well. She's sort of she's a fan, which is it's not a bad thing, eh? I think she'll come and see this as well when she's when you know, at some point as well. She's already sort of messaged about that, so we'll make that happen as well.
I love it. And talking of famous people, come on, in the cast, Julian Clary, is he causing riots in rehearsals? He's going to be playing Herod. I think this is genius casting.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you know, in that part of the play, I'm sort of shackled. You know, it's before I get arrested. You know, it's after the arrest and I get shackled, and it's probably one of the hardest things I've had to do as an actor, is to be in the moment whilst Julian Clary sings 3.5 minutes sort of at you and to your face, because he's just got funny bones. You know, he just stands there and he does nothing. You know, at one point he'll just do nothing, and I'll be like, and I'll just start giggling, and I kind of like it's so it's one of those moments where I'll have to be switched on because he's I can't wait for people to see him. He's just, it is genius casting. He really is like perfect for this kind of role. And he comes on, and it adds to, we were talking to Tim about it, it adds to this balmy world of Jesus Christ Superstar, where, you know, you've got this kind of crazy sort of story going on, and then in the middle of it, Julian Clary pops up, you know, in a big gold gown, you know, and it's balmy, and that's part of what Jesus Christ Superstar is about. You know, it's about that kind of like radical thinking. It's about, you know, and like you're saying, in the middle, Julian pops up for 4 minutes, you know, that kind of thing.
It gives you everything, this show. And for you as a performer, the notes are challenging. Trying not to laugh is challenging with Julian. And I've got to ask, are you scared of heights? Because being up on that cross, what is that like? I mean, I've always thought that when I've seen the Jesus, and you're up there for quite a bit, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I think in this production, we don't know. I haven't seen the cross properly yet. So at the moment, because when we're in the rehearsal room, you can only have a solid set. You can't have any of the automation or any of the sections. So I haven't seen how high. I'm not nervous yet. I'll say that.
There's time. There's time.
Yeah, there's time to get nervous, but I'll just close my eyes and pretend I'm dying.
Yeah, and then you look like you're in the moment anyway, so it's all good. Yeah. I honestly can't wait. This is really, really exciting on so many levels, and I can't wait to see you in action. I saw you on the big night of musicals when it was in Manchester, and we saw you on Britain's Got Talent as well. You've had some years, so does this feel like a great way to continue that now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, you know, I always sort of pinch myself, you know, for the sort of life that I've been given, and you know what I get to do for a living. You know, I really do, because I'm from a council estate in the Midlands, and left there when I was 16. Was going to be an electrician at 16. You know, that was what, and it's just randomly I got into musical theatre because I could sing a little bit, and then that's grown over the years, and you know, before you know it, I'm on Britain's Got Talent in front of 25 million people singing live, and in the moment I'm still thinking I'm still this boy from Coventry, you know. It's you know, and this is I can't wait to be on the road with this show. Like, I really can't.
I love stories like that, and I honestly cannot imagine Ian doing anything other than shining on the stage with that gift of a voice that he's got. He is going to be outstanding as Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar. So do try and catch it if you can. As I say, it opens tomorrow night at the Palace Theatre. And if you want to see anything else on the stage, then you know where to go. Go to the Isle of Manchester website. It'll tell you everything that's going on in the theatre world when it comes to our fair city. And of course, do keep up with us on socials throughout the week. We're at Live in the Hive 21 on Instagram and Twitter. And if you liked what you saw, then spread the word. As I say, we are here every Sunday night in the Hive at 8 o'clock, streaming on the Isle of Manchester Facebook page and our very own Live in the Hive Facebook page. A big thank you to my wonderful guests, Carrie and Ian, and we'll have more guests for you and more theatre next week. I'll see you then.